Welcome back! Day 31 of the Sealey Challenge, and we have done it! Yes! We have ran the race, we have gone on the journey, we've crossed the finish line, we've reached our destination. And what a journey it's been. 31 days, 31 poets, a zillion poems, and here we are now together again. And I couldn't be happier. What a sense of accomplishment. I'm so proud of you for coming along on the journey. You should give yourself a round of applause for just trying out the Sealey Challenge, let alone making it through. I mean, that's an accomplishment tremendously in and of itself. So great job, guys. Great job. And if you've watched all 31 of my reels, you get a bonus ribbon. Gold medal, star on the forehead. I'm very proud of you. Anyways, let's not belabor this intro too long and just jump right in. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. So earlier today I posted a story on Instagram inviting people to ask me anything. And so we got a few responses, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of go through some of these questions that I've received right on camera and give the answers directly to you each individually and collectively. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so our first question, and you're probably wondering why I'm reading these on post-it cards. It's because I'm using my phone, obviously, to record this video, so I can't read it off my phone. Also, isn't that super annoying in reading poetry readings when people are standing up there and they're using their phone to read their poems? Drives me crazy. I don't know, that's my own pet peeve. I'm a traditionalist. I like the poem on a paper or the poem from a book. Okay, rant done. Okay, this is it. Okay, question number 1 from davidquirozjr. Which anthology or collection of poetry do you recommend to beginning readers and why? All right, well, thanks for asking, David. I guess it really would come down to the age of the reader. If they're young, I would probably stick with the types of poets that I grew up with, the Dr. Seuss and the Shel Silverstein. And if they're more in their teens or formative years, I still think Robert Frost, Walt Whitman, E.E. Cummings are still all great entry points for beginning readers. If you want a contemporary or modern day poet recommendation, I would go with Mary Oliver and Billy Collins, because both of those poets write with a language that's really accessible and not pretentious in that I'm reading poetry type of point of view. Billy Collins is available and you can get him pretty much anywhere, but gosh, he writes with such humor and with such joy in his heart, and he talks about some deep subject matter, and sometimes he can just talk about a cup of coffee and it can be transformative. It's a delight. Mary Oliver also is a really great recommendation as well, because she just writes without pretension, but her poetry is so easy to dive into, but yet at the same time it has so many different layers and complexities if you really want to get deep into it. So anyways, hope that answers your question, David. Thanks. Okay, next question is from shawnteorion. How many poetry books do you usually read in a normal month? Thank you, Shante. I guess a normal month would be any month when the Sealey Challenge isn't going on, because this has been quite unusual. But no, seriously, probably just 1 or 2 poetry books a month, tops. I'm a pretty diverse reader, and I have a lot of books spinning on different plates at any given time. So I like to read science fiction, I like to read fantasy, I like to read biographies, I like to read history, I like to read comic books. So to slot in a spot for poetry, probably just 1 or 2 books a month, tops. But what I really have been enjoying a lot lately and have been buying a lot more of have been chapbooks, just because of their more easily digestible nature. They're shorter, more affordable, and also they afford me a lot of diversity, which is great. And you know, some of the stuff that Rinky-Dink Press does with those little micro poem books has been really a treat, because those are like little aperitifs of poetry, and they're just quick reads, and I've enjoyed them. So all right, I'll try to keep these answers a little shorter. hope that answers your question, Shante. Thanks. Okay, the next question is from eyemkent. Have you read Sharon Olds' The Gold Cell? If so, thoughts? Thank you, eyemkent. Actually, yes, I have read Sharon Olds' The Gold Cell. Now, granted, it has been a few years since I've read this book, but I do remember enjoying it tremendously at the time. And glancing back through, just to kind of refresh my memory, I remember that she has some pretty crazy poem titles that I thought was really fun, like The Pope's Penis and A Woman in Heat Wiping Herself. And I just remember those really standing out, and just seeing them again make me laugh. But I do recall that, if memory serves me, that her poems were very cathartic yet very personable. They were observational in the way that they might look at things that are mundane or ordinary, but from a different slant or angle. That she also was sharing a lot of personal pain and trauma, but those experiences sort of transcend the page, and in an attempt to sort of unite the reader and Sharon, the author, in a way that collectively, you know, we all experience the same things together. I kind of remember some of that feeling holding this again and glancing through it, but I don't know. I hope that answers your question. I mean, I guess it does on paper. I have read her book and I did enjoy it, and that's my thoughts. Thanks, eyemkent. Okay, the next question comes from yaelwrites. What are your top 5 poems from what you read? Okay, wow, that is an insanely difficult question, Yael. I don't even know how I could answer that. I've read so many incredible poems this month, and to narrow it down to the top 5 and make a selection out of all those incredible poets would just be impossible. But what I can do is share with you my top 5 poets' books that I read during the Sealey Challenge. That probably is a lot more accessible. So I would say, in no particular order, the top 5 poetry books that I've read this challenge would be Delights and Shadows by Ted Kooser. I mean, this goes without saying. God of Nothingness by Mark Wunderlich. Fantastic. Of course, one of my favorite poets of all time, is Tony Hoagland's Hard Rain. This is an excellent chapbook, but you could easily substitute in his other chapbook, Don't Tell Anyone. So that's a twofer. Louise Gluck's Faithful and Virtuous Night. And of course, Robert Haas's Human Wishes. Those would be the top 5 poets' books that I've read. Now, I've got a few runner-ups, of course. Carl Dennis's Ranking the Wishes, and a new poet, Aaronlelito's The Half Turn, are up there as well as sort of runner-ups. Okay, thanks. Okay, next question is from radixrisingcreative. How long does it typically take you to create a chapbook? Okay, well, thanks. That's a great question. How long does it take? Well, my current chapbook took me years because I've been collecting those poems and writing those poems in all different forms and permutations for years. So to finally get that chapbook together and present it to you was a cathartic experience. It was just so wonderful to finally put those poems into print, to get them bound, to get an awesome cover designed, to get them proofread, edited, and cleaned up and organized, and then just ultimately distributed. That was just an incredible experience, and it took me, like I said, it was years in the making. Now, my second chapbook has been a much quicker experience. I would probably, if I was to answer your question authentically, I would say probably 3 months to 12 months for a book. It could be a lot faster than that though as well, just depending on how quick you're writing. But I think it's extremely important to spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, but valuable time on proofreading, editing, organizing, designing, laying out the book, so that you can put your best foot forward and present the best experience and representation of your work that's possible. So it's not just about the actual writing portion of it. There's a lot of different layers to it that I didn't realize are hugely important and mean a lot at the end of the day. Thank you, radixrising, for the question. Okay, next question comes from wildroofjournal. Most striking opening line or lines you came across. Okay, so during the Sealey Challenge, so many poems, so many striking lines. Going back and looking at these books for intentionally striking lines, I recall Gabrielle Bates's Judas Goat having some intentionally striking first lines that you could tell she wrote them just to kind of fish hook you in. Like, for example, this one, Effigy. Oh yes, they built my mother crudely. I need to know more. You know, she writes these interestingly striking first lines that just kind of grab you and pull you in, like this poem. Who hasn't lain in a yard with boys? Okay, I'm in. Let's keep going. But also, I have to share a poem from Miscreant as well, because this poem I wrote intentionally to catch you off guard with its opening, and that's a poem called "I Don't Know You, But You Were Fucked." That's the first line of the poem. I don't know you, but you were fucked during the darkest dark of the blackest night, when everything wears its worst shadows. And I was caught unaware, negotiating a face both exquisite and dull, with an expression burdened by challenge, atop that bed that groans as if in pain when one of us moves. For we lived in a cruel, bitter, yet trite little adobe house, and it was inevitable that I at least shared many of these virtues, even on those nights when the air held the acidic tang of autumn, the skies were overcast, the ground damp and steaming, the insects sheltered under the front porch awning that stood out like a cavity in a mouthful of white teeth against the darkening clouds of the sky. So all those dangerous black creatures of heartless ambition could find their way home. By morning, it was as if that sickness had never been, and I was truly alone. Okay, you got for more than you asked for, didn't you? Okay. Thanks. Okay, the next question comes from Mark Wunderlich. Thanks, Mark, for writing in. What role does poetry play in your life? Why are you a reader of poems? Wow, you wouldn't let me off easy, would you? Well, I mean, poetry just, it plays such a significant role in my life. I mean, it allows me to connect with my innermost feelings and the world around me. It through poems, I mean, through all of these books of poems, I can find inspiration and a unique understanding that I might not have gotten somewhere else. And I like to read poetry because it offers a unique lens and a different way to look at life, and it challenges my perceptions and allows me a way to connect and resonate with the shared sort of human experience that I don't get out of just my daily interactions with people. Poetry allows for a lot of growth and introspection, both through the reading of it, but also through the writing of it. And yeah, I think that answers your question. Are you satisfied? Thanks, Mark. Okay, so the next question comes from Aaronlelito. A poem or poet you recommend to a poetry newbie? Well, I kind of answered this question already. I'm going to just say Ted Kooser. Just pick up any one of his books. Super short poems, very accessible, very relatable. There you go. Okay, the next question is from kraigcomx. What has changed in the way you see/feel poetry and/or chapbooks after this challenge? What has changed in the way you see or feel poetry? Wow, okay. Well, specifically chapbooks, I guess, is probably the direction I'm going to answer that, because I think I have a newfound respect for chapbooks after this challenge. You know, I always felt sort of like the zine culture and the chapbooks were sort of more of just DIY projects, even having produced a couple of each myself. And so while they have some street cred, I didn't necessarily put them on the same shelf as I would a book of poems that, you know, has a stamped United States laureate or some accreditation on the cover, you know, or something that stood out as like, this is a poet and you must read this. Even though I've been reading and studying poetry my whole life, I think that I have a newfound respect for chapbook and chapbook writers, and I would say that my opinion has greatly increased. It certainly hasn't diminished over the course of the challenge. And so I am now actively looking out those books, and I'm really actively looking out new talent. And because they are in such a digestible and quick format, it allows me to consume a lot of them and to really sort of maximize the diversity of my experience. So I would say that it's been eye-opening in that respect because of the challenge. So hope that answers your question, Craig. Thanks. Oh my God, these questions are crazy. Okay, this is from BBC Third Eye. To what extent do you find setting challenges are useful or inspirational in creative development as an artist? I mean, wow, you guys aren't going easy on me. I thought it was going to be like, what's your favorite color? To what extent do I find setting challenges are useful or inspirational? Well, typically I don't set these kind of challenges for myself. This was a completely unique experience. And will I do it again next year? Yeah, probably, because I did enjoy the challenge. I would like to see there be a little bit more of an active ability to engage the community more frequently and more often versus the way that I've done it. And I think what I've done by doing daily reels has really been motivational, inspirational for me as a writer. Also engaging this content on a daily basis and always just saturating my mind with poetry. While I haven't gotten a lot of writing done this month, I've read so much that I know is going to pay off later, because I've sown the seeds and planted so many trees of poetic thought and inspiration that I know that I'm going to be garnering fruit from it for weeks and months, years to come. To answer your question and not get off on a tangent too far, do I find the setting challenges useful? Previously, no, but now I see the value in it. It did, and just because of the nature of the person that I am a completionist, so I want to see it through to the end. So there was no way I was going to not finish 31 videos after I started the first one. It's just the way I work. So this was inspirational, but I would like to see a way to improve the dialogue between other people so that it can be more uplifting next time around and I can get more people into the conversation. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but we'll see. I hope that answers your question. I mean, just you asking that question, you're already helping me get that dialogue going, and I appreciate it and I love you for it. Thank you. Okay, this next question comes in from Captain Hard Rock. Love it. What is your favorite game? Now this is more like the type of question I was expecting. What's my favorite game? Well, I like a lot of games. I enjoy hide and seek with my kids. That's always a blast. So creative, coming up with new ways to use the same space over and over again, and yet finding new and innovative ways to make yourself invisible. I think hide and seek is kind of underrated. That's a really fun game. I also do love tabletop board games. It's so much fun. I don't get to play them as much as I'd like. I don't have that big of a group of friends locally that would want to do that with me, that I can convince. But I also, growing up, I absolutely loved RPGs, role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons and Cyberpunk and things like that. Absolutely adore those. In fact, I still really love reading the handbooks and the manuals that come out for those games, even though I don't have any friends to play with. Do you want to play Captain Hard Rock? Let me know. All right. Thanks. Okay, this next question comes in from Rhymes and Roses. Is there anything you would do differently next time? Wow, that's a very open-ended question. Is there anything I would do differently next time? In regards to what, Rhyme and Roses? Yes, I would do so many things differently next time. But I assume you're meaning in regards to the challenge. I kind of touched on this with one of the other questions. Next time, and it's something I'm going to work on probably for next year, and you know, if I could actually get in touch with the real people that are running the challenge at the Sealey Challenge Instagram handle or at the UA Poets Center, maybe I could get a dialogue going with them. But I think if there's a way to somehow improve the interactivity in the challenge so that we're not all sort of just in our silos reading books and then just using, you know, hashtags and tags on Instagram or whatever to kind of share. If there was maybe, I don't know whether it would be a Discord or something like that, just some kind of community to allow people to have more of a conversation. I think that is something that I would like to see done differently next time. Also, I think because a lot of the people that I've met during the course of these last 31 days are also writers and poets themselves. I would like to see a collective or community by which we can all either exchange or sell our works and promote our poetry together, whether it's bundling packages or allowing for a common marketplace or something of that nature. I don't know exactly what. I haven't written these thoughts down. These are just coming out as I'm thinking right now. But I think that there might be value and a way to help and assist the new poets to kind of get their feet and to springboard them in their careers, and also to allow the audience and readers like myself to be able to get a hold of all of this plethora of works that exist out there, get my hands on it affordably. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you. Okay, so this next question comes from tinamariethinkstoomuch. I love that handle. That's great. This is less of a question and more of a commandment. Pick one book as the ultimate champion. Wow, you're not giving me any leeway with that one, are you, Tina? Pick one book as the ultimate champion. Well, you're putting me on the spot. Okay, one of the books as the ultimate champion. I've got them all spread out here. No. No. Let's see. No, no. Even these ones I recommended a little while ago. No, nope, 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 nope. Nope, nope, nope. That only leaves one book, because it's day 31 that I haven't even shared yet. And that is The Ultimate Champion. Can you guess what it is? It is my book, This Is Our Secret, Chapbook Series #1 by Eric Williamson. Dun 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 dun! The reigning champion of the Sealey Challenge. Oh my god, no. I'm gonna pick my book just because I want you all to get a copy of it and to experience the poems that have been years in the making. And I also think that you will find something special in these pages because this is a overarching collective experience. There is a narrative through point through This Is Our Secret that is just waiting to be revealed by you. So go out and get yourself a copy of The Ultimate Champion that has been picked. Thanks to the question, Tina Marie Thinks Too Much. I really appreciate it. Well, if you made it to this part of the video, kudos. Those questions were so wonderful, and thank you all for submitting them. And I'm sorry I took so long answering some of them. But if you came to my reel expecting bite-sized content, you came to the wrong place. You should know that by now. I think this is probably my longest reel of the month, but it was so worth it to be able to have this interchange with you. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. This whole journey, gosh, it's been special. I can feel my cheeks getting a little rosy just in the fondness of memories of the last 30 days and the sense of accomplishment that we all are shared together. And thanks for doing this for me. This has been transformative for myself. I feel different from the day when I started this challenge. If you go back and look at my first reel where I was reading Tony Hoagland and I was just sitting on the little wall embankment by the side of my house, and I'm just like, today I'm reading Tony Hoagland and I got this book at Open Books in Seattle and it's good, you should read it, thanks, bye. And every day the reels challenged me. They asked me to take it a step further, to push myself a little bit out of my comfort zone. I've never been really one to get on camera and do something like this, and so it's challenged me, but it's also been so transformative in seeing the way that I'm able to think and express myself on camera, and it's just been fun. I feel like I've grown because of it, because of this interchange with you, and thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for having participated in the Sealey Challenge, for actively engaging my content every day, for responding to my posts, and you know, hopefully maybe more than one or two of you will actually pick up a copy of my book at some point, but no pressure. Do it on your own pace when you can, but it would be appreciated, and I will love you so much more for it. I think we wrap it up. As always, I can just go on too long, huh? Guess I've got a lot to say, or at least I've got a lot of heart full of things to share. Okay, let's finish this up right. All right? As always, stay strong, be persistent, always curious, open heart, open mind. Until next time, bye.